Welcome, everyone. This is Pounds Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at laces and LOTRO and hear LOTRO players. And this week, I'm joined by Krister,
Hello.
Cinders,
Hello.
Oh.
Are you kidding me? Hello.
it just doesn't like
Can we do it
capturing
again?
your voice, and Sanswinda.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone. And this week, we finally have some news about the new expansion, and we're going to be going through this. But first, we have some release notes.
What? No.
That's
Yeah,
right.
I'm kidding.
We had update 49.2, which was released on August 5th, 2026. And so we're continuing the In Good Company. As I said, I'm not too sure Sorceress is good company, but that's beside the point. For quests and instances, additional delving monsters in Cardline and Swanfleet once again utilize delving skills appropriately. For Parkru Curate, the Garden of Corpses, Ushkadash health has been reduced by about 3%. The number of Echo of Nezaru kills needed to end Song of Nuzaru has been reduced from 8 to 6. And the protection hotspot during Song of Nuzaru now dispels Twisting Shadows damage. I must admit, I don't know exactly what all that means, but it looks like there were essentially a couple of tweaks to the Garden of Corpses. For items and rewards, adjustments to the Pelennor Instance Cluster gear rewards. Armor dropped in Pelennor instances, meaning the Blood of the Black Serpent, the Keys of Harlond, and the Silent Street, can now be disenchanted for Battle of Pelennor armor tokens. The Pelennor Battle Rewards barter vendor will now accept these tokens plus Morgul Crest in exchange for corresponding Pelennor instance armor pieces appropriate for level 105 characters. This now includes Brawler and Mariner gear. I'm sure the Brawlers and Mariners are happy about that, at least the ones who are around 105. Gear and level 105 essences will no longer drop from Pelennor instance clusters non-challenge chests when run above level 120. And the Pelennor instance cluster chest has been renamed so that they can be more easily distinguished. The Rivendell kitchen and oven housing decorations can now be used to cook campfire foods. Rivendell housing chain decorations can now be used with the /sit emote, and Kenta chairs are now usable by stout axes and river hobbits. That was a strange thing to exclude them, considering that the river hobbits and the stout axes were introduced before the Kenta were. For champions and classes and skills, and continuous blood rage once again correctly reduces power costs rather than increasing them.
Sounds like that will make some people happy.
No.
So if you're running an instance where power was where power is tight, then that would make a difference in there. Sprint's cooldown in PvMP has been increased from 20 seconds to 30 seconds.
As a monster player, I say, yeah.
How useful is Sprint currently, though? Doesn't it last only like 3 seconds or something like that?
I don't know, but it means that they can't do it again for 30 seconds instead of 20 seconds, which ups your chances of catching them and sending them back to their starting location.
Yeah.
That was a nice way of putting it.
Yes. And speaking of PvP stuff. We also have a section on PvP where legendary necklaces and pocket items found in the Delving of Frar will now drop at the appropriate item level, and any existing drops will be updated to item level 580 when logging into the character bearing them. For Sorceress, fix some outstanding effect stacking issues. Dots will stack once per character, while buffs and debuffs should allow only once per target. As a note, this should fix some problems with effects tier-ups not working or working inconsistently. Prepared skills no longer disappear upon death. Conflict damage area size has been reduced from 12-meter radius to 7-meter radius.
Boo.
You don't even play a sorceress.
I don't, but I happen to know from, unless something dramatic has changed in PvP, anything that gives you an edge on a freep is a good thing to have, and anytime it's nerfed, it's a boo.
Okay. Sorceress synergy effects are now named on their corresponding skill tooltips, and the tier-up mechanic from mastery traits has been rewritten slightly to improve clarity. Withered arm effect durations have been reduced to 3 seconds, and their potencies have been halved. I'm sure that's another boo from you. Fix some incorrect. Yes. If you understood what it meant, then maybe it would be. Yes. Fix some incorrect AoE shapes on Ice Pillar and Fire Fumarole AoE effects. Glaciate no longer has an induction. Studied Spike and Breath skills no longer deal extremely reduced damage when studied in Sorceress Studied Slot 2 or 3. Okay, actually, that one sounds like a yay from the Sorceress's point of view. And corrected some issues with the Dread Summons trait description. As for Siege, fixed explosive ballisty firing AoEs that were generating additional AoEs per target. Ballisty now target a single player and fire AoE centered on only that individual. Okay, so it's as if it shot a single bomb that exploded on the target. All right. Explosive ballisty projectiles now explode immediately upon impact, and ballista tar now lasts a little bit longer. Fixing several stuck points, and fixed an issue where lesser PvP CC break potions, the ones which cost morale to use, these now correctly confer brief CC immunity to the player when used. Improved PvP stun and root potions that don't cost morale to use are now rare to better differentiate them at a glance from your inventory on the hotbars. Players will now be unable to attempt to pick up an artifact while carrying a relic, and vice versa. So in other words, you can have a relic or an artifact, but you can't carry both. Picking up your on-team's artifact from the ground will no longer improperly bestow your team's buff. And artifacts will no longer transform into relics when picked up by their own teams. And we have a known issue. A recent change has mistakenly made solo missions and delvings more difficult than intended. Though player reports we were able to identify the issue, and we are working to rectify this in the next update. All right. That explains a great deal, because in my week in LOTRO, I was planning on complaining about how the missions felt like that they were too tough, and I was assuming it was because of the level I was in and that I was had hard traveler on stuff like this, and no, looks like there's something wrong that's making them tough on an absolute scale. It looks like
That
so.
doesn't mean you can't complain. That just means you have to complain with the caveat that you know they're going to try and fix it.
Okay.
You should take that as I was right. There was an issue. It wasn't just my imagination.
Okay, it wasn't my imagination. All right. I suppose you got a point there. And that's it for the release notes. So that means it's time for us to head out and look upon two new articles that were posted, and they're related to the upcoming expansion. First of these is New to the Neighborhood. The Wolves of Mordor expansion introduces a new housing feature, Neighbors. And they provide here an overview in it. We have a link to the LOTRO.com report on this. Middle Earth is filled with heroes, but every hero deserves a friend next door. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Oh, is Fred? Maybe we should get Fred Rogers to read this then.
He's deceased.
Well, yeah, that'll
But
make
carry on.
All right, I will try to carry on in this. Housing has long been one of the most beloved features of the Lord of the Rings Online. Over the years, we have expanded the places that you can call home, from cozy hobbit holes in the Shire to breathtaking homesteads overlooking Rivendell. Every home tells a story, decorated with the treasures, memories, and achievements of its owner. As part of the pre-release offerings to the Wolves of Mordor expansion, we are unveiling an exciting new housing feature, breathing vibrancy and life into your home in the arrival of Neighbors. Neighbors connect your adventures to the people whose lives you have touched along the way. The Wolves of Mordor pre-order provides you with introductions to representatives from each race of the primary four free peoples of Middle Earth. Having heard tales of your deeds, these individuals seek you out, eager to learn more about the hero behind the tales. Each will present you with a special item that you can place in your housing hook within any of your homesteads. Once displayed, it serves as an invitation, allowing the neighbor to visit your home whenever you wish. Now, from stranger to friend, your neighbors do not exist merely as visitors. They have lives, ambitions, and stories of their own. Through conversations, gifts, and a new neighbor mission system, you strengthen your bond over time. Relationships progress through stages for stranger to companion and eventually to trusted friends. As your friendship deepens, your neighbor will invite you into personal story instances, revealed more about who they are, what makes them unique, and why they sought you out in the first place. Along the way, you will uncover new insights into their likes and dislikes, and you may even discover a secret dream hidden deep within their heart. Now, what I find interesting about this is I wonder if this was the spur that caused them to finally get around to allowing you to enter instances from housing neighborhoods. Because for a long time, that was something that was impossible to do. But I think it was a couple of updates ago where they finally added the ability to do that. And I'm wondering if this is the reason why, is that they were already preparing this and said, oh my goodness gracious, this will not work unless they change it. Anyway, that's something I was just thinking about there. Let's say about developing a friendship. Relationship, yes. When a neighborhood first arrives at your home, they are little more than a stranger. Building a true friendship takes time and begins with starting your adventures. Each day, a mission board within the neighborhood offers a selection of 5 special neighborhood missions. These missions function similarly to the mission system that you already know, but with a crucial difference. You complete them by sharing them as a story with your neighborhood. Any neighbor can listen to the story of your latest mission, but not only neighbor, not every neighbor will appreciate every story equally. The kind of adventure that you undertake matters. The objectives you pursue, the creatures you confront, and the activities that you engage in all contribute to how your neighbor responds. Getting to know a neighbor is a gradual process, and every action you take contributes to that journey. All right. Sharing stories. At the beginning of your friendship, their personality is a mystery. They may hint that they are a homebody, preferring the comfort of safety in familiar places, or an adventurous person, delighting in tales from distant lands. The most important thing to them is to learn more about the hero that they have heard about in their travels, meaning you. In completing missions unique to the neighbor system, you will have new tales to tell, and your neighbor will be interested. The journeys you complete are not done for your neighbor, rather, they are seeds of your own epic tales, drawn from your personal journeys and brought vividly to life for an eager listener. When you share your stories, your neighbor responds in meaningful ways, reflecting how deeply that they were captivated by your adventures, not whether they judged your choices or actions. They understand that your path may differ from their own. They simply prefer certain stories over others. Of course, every neighbor has a story. No two neighbors are exactly alike. Each neighbor possesses 20 personality traits shaping their preferences, behavior, and outlook on life. Grimbald the dwarf, for example, always has 7 traits common with every version of Grimbald. The remaining 13 traits are unique to your Grimbald, making your friendship unlike anyone else's. A living companion. These traits influence what your neighbor enjoys, dislikes, or simply has little to care about. Learning these preferences is a key to building a lasting relationship. Your neighbor is far more than a static presence at your homestead. They are active with personality. They react to your actions, your stories, and even the gifts that you share. Through our dynamic mood system, they may express how they feel by changing facial expressions, evolving dialogue, and vivid visual cues, revealing their emotions day by day. As your journeys intertwine, you may share your pasts, hopes, and dreams, and the traits that make each one truly unique. Grow closer, and you will earn meaningful rewards your neighbor can wear, lasting reminders of the triumphs and trials you have shared together. Every new adventure brings the chance to deepen your bond, turning once mundane interactions into a rich, evolving friendship. Looking ahead. This first is just the beginning, a peek at the possibilities of this new system. Our next article on neighbors, we will dive deeper into what makes each one unique and how we are carefully handcrafting their interactions with you. We will explore the vital roles of gifts, adventure, and the ways that you strengthen and evolve your relationships. We were thrilled to introduce the feature out into the Wolves of Mordor, and even more excited about the doors it will open in the future housing in Middle Earth. So that's their little startup teaser for the upcoming Neighbors system. Anyone have any thoughts on this?
Yes. So, I don't know whose house they've been looking at, but it's not mine. Uh, and I am a terrible person to weigh in on this because I literally go to my housing when I have to drop something off because my bags are overflowing and I've got to put them somewhere. And then I do my best to put it in and so it looks like a house. And then I get frustrated and quit and go do something else. So, and aside from, I don't remember if it was me who did it or if it was Sans who did it, but one of our houses, the entire basement, we just like lined with the Mordor doors because every single character got one. Like, what do you do with them all?
Which
do you
is
have
awesome.
A house? Do you have a house for every single one of your characters? Which works if you have one. If you have, your max amount of characters, for each of them to have a house, and then each of them to connect with their neighbors, it just sounds exhausting. I'm sure there are people who will love it. I think I will not be partaking. I might be surprised. I might surprise myself. But given my lack of use of the neighborhood in general, I'm going to say I probably won't be making any use of the new neighbor system.
So we're not going to see Mrs. Cinder's neighborhood anytime soon, is what you're saying.
That is what I'm saying.
Instead of "Won't you be my neighbor," it'll be "You won't be my neighbor."
Yeah, basically. Although I have thought about logging all of my characters in one at a time and just getting an entire neighborhood to myself. But then if it's
But
premium
then you'd
housing,
be your own neighbors.
yes, if it's premium housing, it costs stuff. If it's not premium housing, it's still like this ongoing. You have to cycle through every character, and like I can barely get them logged in to check their mail.
Well, if it's not premium housing, you can't get one for every because you only have one house in a non-premium neighborhood.
Right. So, like, what do you do?
Well,
it's an
maybe you're approaching it in the wrong way. Maybe you're not looking at it quite right. So let me see if I can sell it because there's a hope. There's something that birthed in me, a hope, a gem, a shining star when Pine Leaf was saying that, talking about this neighbor system.
Mm-hmm.
What if, and I'm just throwing this out here, what if you had the option of kind of understanding maybe that these are neighbors that have been in game, that you've encountered them in game, these NPCs in other places, and what if you could be neighbors with the Hobbit that's passed out in his own mess at Winterhome?
He probably does need a friend.
I believe I would be interested in the neighbor system, and I would be interested in exploring it if he was my neighbor.
Yeah.
Because I think he'd be a lot of fun for a while, and then he'd sleep.
When he was awake. I will probably check it out just to see, but
you don't expect to last more than a day.
I expect maybe a week tops, and then I will decide it's too much work. And I would much rather invest in real life friends, invest that much of my time and energy. But that is me being me, and I game to play with you guys. I don't game to play with NPCs.
Okay. Anyone else have any thoughts on that before we head on?
Yeah, I'll be interested in checking it out. Sounds like an interesting concept, and of course, interested to see how they execute.
All right. Then that's it for the teaser for the neighbors. We will, I'm sure, get more information on this as we get closer to the release. So let's have a look at the second new system that's been announced, and that is survive the savage wilds of Drogarth with survival instincts. Learn more about survival instincts, a new system arriving in with the Wolves of Mordor expansion. The Wolves of Mordor expansion introduces survival instincts, an all-new character progression system for the Lord of the Rings Online, available to every class and playstyle. Survival instincts unlock powerful new abilities, options, and character enhancements that will help you endure and thrive in the unforgiving lands of Drogarth. Learn from the hardy people who have carved out an existence in these shadowed wilds, master their techniques, adapt their cunning, and develop the instincts needed to confront the unnatural horrors that stalk the land. So, what are survival instincts? Survival instincts represent a hard earned knowledge, tactics, and survival skills passed down by the peoples of Drogarth. Through instinct, ingenuity, and generations of experience, these cultures have learned how to endure in one of the most dangerous regions of Middle Earth, and how they are willing to share their successes and secrets. As you adventure through Drogarth, you will unlock new triggered abilities, active skills, tactical responses, and character enhancements that complement your class strength and open new strategic possibilities. Survival instincts are earned by building relationships with the region's inhabitants and are managed through dedicated new page on your traits panel. So therefore, currently we have, of course, the class skills, we have class skills, okay, the class traits, we have the virtues. Wait, I forgot which is the one in the middle there. Anyway, oh yeah, yes, the racials. Yes, you have your class skills, your racials, you have your virtues, and now this will be a fourth one, these survival traits. That will go into the traits panel. And they do have an image, work in progress image of the survival traits panel in there. So it's just a prototype so far that they're showing there. And all the icons on there are taken from the virtues. I'm pretty sure they're not planning on those being the final icons for these items. Most importantly, every survival instinct you unlock is earned server wide, becoming available to all your characters on that server. Your journey begins when you first encounter the woes of Helithris, the opening region of Drogarth. Briefly introducing you to their way of life, they will teach you the first tactic, lesson, and skill set. From there, you'll continue expanding your mastery through questing, exploration, treasure hunting, crafting, and barter. Each culture of Drogarth offers its own unique approach to survival. By learning from them, you will unlock new tactics, lessons, skills, and enhancements. Each new ability empowers existing ones or introduces powerful new effects and triggers. The deeper your understanding grows, the sharper your instincts becomes. Every lesson learned strengthens your ability to endure the deadly challenges of this land of shadows where only the prepared survive. There are 4 categories of survival instincts to discover. There are 9 tactics, 3 lessons, 3 skill sets, and 16 enhancements. Every type of survival instinct has meaningful utility to all classes and roles. They offer greater variety in gameplay, an edge in difficult encounters and quests, and a larger advantage in group-based content throughout the Wolves of Mordor expansion. Whether you are seeking additional damage, survivability, support capabilities, or new strategic options for you and your fellowship, Survival Instincts will provide a new ways to customize your character and adapt to the dangers of Drogarth. In other words, something else we have to grind?
Exactly.
How
Impact.
astute.
What? Okay. What impact do tactics have on my characters? Tactics are reactive survival techniques triggered by actions in combat, such as attacking enemies, healing allies, or suffering incoming attacks. These tactical responses can deal damage, restore health, bolster defenses, or weaken enemy assaults, providing valuable benefits during the heat of combat. There are 9 tactics to learn, and you may have up to 3 active at any time. How can lessons benefit my characters? While in the Lands of the Wolves of Mordor expansion, you will use the lessons to activate powerful abilities, providing unique advantages throughout your adventures. Lessons can draw the attention of powerful foes, luring them forward to face your wrath. To earn you precious treasure for your efforts. Another may improve your chance to finding better treasure from the less dangerous enemies that you face, while another may summon a loyal wolfhound pack to aid you against the deadliest threats lurking in Drugarth, lending much needed assistance against tougher foes who lurk in the unforgiving wilds because your skirmish soldier is utterly useless, is why. There are 3 lessons to discover, one from each of your potential allies, but only one lesson can be active at a time. How would the new survival instinct skill sets help my character? Each ally techniques each ally teaches a unique set of survival skills, available only within the regions introduced in the Wolves of Mordor expansion. These skills require special consumable items crafted from local resources or acquired through barter with your allies. While you can learn every skill set, only one set of survival skills can be slotted at a time, allowing you to tailor your approach to the challenges ahead. Survival skills provide a complementary set of abilities to augment your class strength and give you advantages you do not have across the rest of the game world. With the addition of these skills, you will fight harder, longer, and more efficiently among your fellows. What do survival instinct enhancements do for my character to make them stronger? Across Drogarth, you will discover 16 unique enhancements that modify tactics, lessons, skills, and even core class interactions. While all enhancements can effectively be earned, only 4 of them are active at a time, encouraging experimentation and specialized builds. Each enhancement serves to increase the frequency with which abilities can be used or triggered, empowering survival instincts with greater efficacy or, or, or even provide additional effects to the survival instincts that you discover. With so many survival instincts available, you are sure to find a combination that strikes fear into your enemies and strengthens your legend in The Lord of the Rings, The Wolves of Mordor. We know this first look at the bold news system has given you a lot to take in, and we are just starting. In our next article, we will dive deeper, breaking down the unique abilities behind each tactic, lesson, skill set, and enhancement unlocked through the expansion. You will also get a closer look how to earn them and evolve your survival tactics, shaping yourself into a more formidable opponent. Prepare to sharpen your edge and become a fully heroic force against the darkness lurking in the lands of Drogarth. Is there anyone here who is more excited about this than I am?
How excited are you?
Yeah, from a scale of 1 to infinity.
1 to infinity. maybe about a 2 at the moment.
I
Now
think I'm
I'm
more curious than excited.
yeah, okay, yeah, maybe more curious than excited. I mean, I do have to admit though, I
Because
remember I was skeptical about the skirmish system when they first announced that one too. So
this could be really cool, or it could be a really annoying grind.
yeah, I'm just wondering is that I just want to make sure this is not Radiance 3.0 or something weird like that.
Fair. I mean, it could be, but we won't know
Right, we won't know
until
until,
it's live.
or at least, well, we might know when Bull Roar is starting.
Okay, when we start being able to actually test it, we'll have a better idea.
Yeah, we'll have a better idea. Yes. All right. Anyway, that is the new survival instincts item, which is the item that is coming when they have the actual release. Since this is tied into the zones where we'll be questing it, obviously they're not going to be part of the pre-order. They are going to be part of the actual release of the expansion. So that's it for the look into the two new systems into there. Now there is one little more thing to note, and that is that we are going to have We Have a Cave Troll where you could join Orion and Scenario on Thursday, August 13th at 3 p.m. server time. You could join them at Twitch. The link we have is to the forum post, and the forum post has a link to the Twitch page. And now we know that Redacted of Redacted has been revealed. This week, we'll be talking about the recent announcement of our next expansion pack, The Wolves of Mordor. Preview season will soon be upon us, but before then, stop on by to discuss what we've announced thus so far, and maybe, just maybe, we'll have a new tidbit or two to share as well. And you also click on another link in order to go to the Discord event for the stream and to be notified when it happens. But anyway, we have a cave troll. There will be one this coming Thursday at the point in which we are recording this, and that they will be going into probably discussing all the stuff I just read out. And they're probably going to get some questions and probably get some answers to, because right now there's probably more that we all want to know about this on how it actually operates. But I think we're going to be finding this out soon enough. So we'll try We Have a Cave Troll. Now, that is it for the news for this week. So let's go to the store sales. Cinders, what's on sale this week? Maybe I'll get Sans to do it since Cinders' microphone is.
Oh, I was
acting up.
muted. I'm sorry. I was trying to. This time I was muted. The last time I was not. At the beginning of the show, I was not muted. No, the dogs were barking, so I muted and forgot that I had done that. Okay. This is what is on sale this week. Here we go. Known across the land, you can get 15% off of 2,000 Virtue Acceleration, 5,000 Enhanced Reputation Supply, and 100% Mark Acquisition Boost through August 13th. And the weekly coupon for free regeneration food times 5 is coupon code Let's Eat, LETSEAT, now through August 13th as well.
All right. Thank you, Cinders. So let's then head into our site news, where we have another Sincerely Cinders, where more pictures of your yard, that's for sure. Have you found out what's a weed and what's not?
Yes. And also I spent a ton of time pulling weeds. For full truck bed loads to the dump and probably one more to do. But I pulled all of the weeds around my yard except for the ones behind the shed because I found a wasp nest that was very active on the ground. And then when I went to spray it, discovered more wasp nests and then ran out of wasp spray. So hopefully Monday I'll be able to pull all of those. And then I need to pull the weeds in the front yard. But I mowed the lawn all by myself. And I pulled weeds all by myself. And then my dad came and helped me load them up and take them to the dump to be composted. So, and then I did put in pictures of the garden as well. Because I have the one big boy tomato plant that I put down has got some nice big like fist-sized tomatoes on it that are nice and green and they're getting riper. And the scarlet runner beans have so many flowers. And then the nasturtiums are just so happy to look at. And the corn has the little tassels now, which is really exciting. So I did put those in there too. But I was most proud of the pulling the weeds in the yard. That was a lot of work. And my hands ache.
And your hands ache. Yeah, I guess they would ache after all that weed pulling.
It did make me very, very thankful, though, that the spiders in my yard are not the size of Shelob's descendants.
Your sister is also grateful.
Yes,
Yeah, in general, I think everyone is thankful.
I sent so many spiders scurrying. I think the largest one was the size of about a 50-cent piece, if you include its legs, and its body was like a size of a quarter. But they all ran away from me instead of onto me, so they got to live.
Okay. So it's time for us to head into the new player question, and we actually have a question from a listener. Sans, you want to cover this?
Sure. We have questions about housing from Rararlil? No.
That's Ferrarlier.
Ferrarlil.
Okay, so,
No.
sorry.
Ferralier.
Oh,
Or rat
yeah.
stew.
Okay.
We have
Try
some
rat stew. That
typos
rat stew
here.
sounds easier
Sorry,
to
guys.
say.
I'm Peregrine. They write, "Hello, LOTRO podcast. Listening to last week's podcast, I realized I'm finally going to have to get a house. I have avoided it since beta because I'm not interested in housing. However, a lot of the new features in Wolves of Mordor sound really cool, but you need a house for some of it. So my question to you is, as a VIP, what is the best option and cheapest for getting a house? And as a non-VIP, what is the best option and cheapest for getting a house? I have 2 accounts, one VIP, one not, hence the questions. If you buy a house that's premium, is that cheapest in the long run since you don't have to pay upkeep? And is it better to buy with Mithril or Ritz? So many questions. I hope you can address this in the next podcast. Thank you for your weekly releases because I really enjoy listening to you guys." And then it's signed Farrellier or Rat Stew. I'm Peregrine. Thank you, Farrellier, and sorry for butchering your name multiple times. Pine Leaf, what do you think?
All right. So let's begin with the probably most important question with VIP versus non-VIP is that you have to be VIP in order to buy a premium house. If you are a non-VIP, I believe, or did they change that?
I think you can buy it, but you have to pay upkeep if you're not VIP.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
And the upkeep is very expensive.
You're right. Yes, you are correct. You are correct. It is that
something
you
like
have to pay
5
upkeep.
gold per week or something. Upkeep,
5
depending on the
gold?
house.
I thought
Some of them are more.
I thought the upkeep was pretty
less.
consistent. I thought it was 1 gold across the board. Since I have only a VIP account, I really don't know it all that well. Let's see.
I'm going off of what I remember from math a few minutes ago, so I might be misremembering. But
okay.
I'm pretty sure the house that I was looking at had an upkeep cost of 5 gold. It might have been per month, but it was definitely an upkeep cost of 5 gold.
Okay, that's very expensive. Okay, that is more expensive
It's
than
a very cheap, or very not cheap, very expensive upkeep for a premium house. Depending on the premium house, maybe. I will double check that number. But that aside, I think part of the expense that we need to talk about is LOTRO points versus in-game gold. Because whether you use Mithril or the housing writs that are now homesteading coins, for premium houses, those come at the cost of LOTRO points. Whereas, or, maybe you got lucky with your Hobbit presence and you got Mithril there. Whereas the other houses, the standard houses from before that you can only own one of in a neighborhood, those cost in-game gold.
Those cost in-game gold, yes. And so therefore, when you're saying which is cheapest, are you saying cheapest in in-game gold or real world money?
Right. And I mean, technically, I guess you could argue that premium is cheapest in in-game gold because it doesn't cost in-game gold, but the trade-off is it costs real world money.
Yeah. Oh, concerning our question about upkeep, it's 1 gold for personal houses. It's 5 gold for the kin house.
Okay, that might have been a kin house.
So you're remembering the kin house upkeep, and I was remembering the personal home upkeep.
Okay. So if you have a kin house that's premium, it's going to be 5 gold per week.
Yeah.
If you have a personal house, it's 1.
Yeah, and I think in this case we're worried about the personal homes since the person is asking in relation to the neighbor system. And I would think the neighbor system would be interacting with personal homes, I would guess. Unless they're...
It sounds like it's a hook that you can place in your home, so it might work in a kin house.
Yeah, maybe it would. We'll have to test that out when it gets released. Okay, continue.
Right. So, if your concern is not spending LOTRO points or real world money, then traditional housing is definitely the cheaper way to go because it only costs in-game currency. Right? If you're worried about gold cost and upkeep over time and you are VIP, then I've personally found it easier to have a premium house that I don't have to remember to log in and pay upkeep on.
Right, because I do find the upkeep annoying. Because what happens is if the upkeep is not paid, then you'll get a notice from the housing authority. First, you get one that your upkeep is getting ready to run out, and then if it does, it'll say that you won't be able to access your house until you pay the upkeep that you've missed to unlock the house, and then pay the next week's upkeep on that. So once you are back in the green, so to speak, on that, you are able to use your house again. So you'd have to be away a pretty long time, I think, for them to foreclose completely.
I think so. And the upkeep cost for the regular ones is very reasonable, honestly.
Yes.
It's only 345 silver for a kin house per week. The deluxe one is 150 silver, and the regular ones are only 50 silver a week, which is pretty easy.
Yeah, but if you're doing it mainly just for the neighborhood system, then you probably want cheapest type of house because usually they have a couple of tiers of houses in there. So if you've got a standard house, we're talking about 1 gold to buy the house. Maybe a little change on top of that, but about 1 gold to buy the house and 50 silver, I think, for the upkeep.
Yep, and you can get it for slightly cheaper. Like there's a few in the Shire at least that you can get for 950 silver, which is almost a gold, but not quite.
Yeah,
And your
it's
upkeep
probably
cost is
tucked away.
47 silver and 50 copper. So it's
Yeah.
basically 50 silver. You could round it for ease of this, but
It looks
it's
like it's
not super
120.
expensive.
Yeah, it's not super expensive.
And you can pay multiple weeks in advance on your upkeep, which usually is fairly inexpensive, and it lasts you for, I don't remember how many weeks in advance you can pay
Well,
because it's been a while since I paid upkeep.
these days it's about 6 months. The last time
I'm
I
gonna say I
checked
feel
on
like
that.
it was 6 months usually, if you pay it all the way out as far as you can pay it.
Yeah, but of course that means
So
paying 26 weeks worth of upkeep.
that is true, but usually that's only a handful of gold and is cheaper than upgrading your ally once you get allies. Honestly, I don't remember how much it was at 50 for my allies, but any allies over 120, it's a lot cheaper to pay 6 months of upkeep on a house than it is to reforge your ally. So unless maybe you have a premium house that you're paying upkeep on, that would be expensive.
I figured the question was about what is cheapest to do. That I'm assuming that they're not going to be getting the most expensive house in the neighborhood.
Right. If you're getting a premium house for ease of not having to remember upkeep and or because you really like them, then there are different houses for different prices in different neighborhoods. So you can find houses for like 360 mithril coins in Rivendell, 422 mithril coins in Belfast, a variety of other lower price ranges. Which, if you've got a lot of mithril, could be a really good deal. If you've got a lot of homesteading coins, could be a good deal.
Well, the really small houses in Belfast is 145. So,
Well, okay. These are just what I saw available on Sting recently.
Oh, yeah. You're okay. I was thinking. I guess I was going by the assumption that the luxurious, expensive ones might be the ones that tend to go fast because there would be more demand because they're expensive because there's more demand. But yeah, now I see how many stately homes, which are the smaller ones, versus luxurious homes. That most likely, if you had a neighborhood that wasn't selling out of its homes, I have a feeling a couple of luxurious houses that people think are in bad locations are probably the ones that are being stuck there, and that all the small ones have gone already. That sort of things. You're looking at what's available in there, so that's the tricky thing about the market.
I'm not on the same server as the listener right now looking at this because I was trying to avoid tells while we're recording.
I understood on that.
Okay, yes, I see the 145 here.
Yeah, so
there are a few available for like 145 mithril coins. Good call, Pineleaf. You just might have to search for them.
Yeah,
because they appear to be largely sold out.
That's what that because there are in Belfast there are 6 of the small homes available. I guess I always thought the proportions were different, but it looks like there are 6 small homes that are available, and I'm going to guess that they have a tendency to sell out in there. So if you want, so when you talk to the broker, they usually have a three different numbers on there for how many homes they are. So the one on the left side is usually the cheapest one. The one on the right is usually the kin house, and the one in the middle are usually the expensive ones.
Yeah, and it looks like the cheap ones in Belfast are 145 or 243 ish.
Yeah. That's
They
the way it
both
works
count
here.
on the cheap side.
Yeah. Yeah, those
It
are
would
on the
appear.
cheaper homes. Yes, the ones that are 243 are the ones that are at better locations. They're nearer services and the like. And
Fair.
because, for example, I tend to buy mine at One Cape Road, which is one of the more expensive ones because it's right next to the lighthouse and it's also next to the shore. So, prime property.
That makes sense. Yeah. And for that, the pricing appears to be roughly for every 5 mithril coins it costs 1 homesteading coin. Or like you could just divide the mithril coins by 5 and you get your approximate homesteading coins cost rounded up. So in the older housing neighborhoods, if it's not divisible by 5, you probably have a slightly better deal mithril. If it's divisible by 5, it's even. Cost for buying mithril versus homesteading coins. Lowest tier of mithril coins and lowest tier of homesteading coins come out the same. It'll cost you 50 LOTRO points to get the equivalent 5 mithril coins or 1 homesteading coin. The next 2 tiers available for both of them come out slightly in favor of homesteading coins. You can get 5 mithril for 50 LOTRO points again at the second tier, or 1 homesteading coin for 45 LOTRO points, which is a savings of 5 LOTRO points. The next tier down, you can get 5 for 42.5 LOTRO points, or 1 for 40. So still slightly leaning in favor of homestead coins. And then it evens out again at the lowest tier that's the best deal, with 5 mithril coins for 40 LOTRO points, or 1 homesteading coin for 40 LOTRO points. So prices, mithril versus homesteading coins, is roughly equivalent in LOTRO points. Do note, though, that you will probably end up buying more of them than you actually need to get the house. So then your question might be, which do I want more of in my pockets? Do I want more LOTRO points? Or do I want more, or not LOTRO points, do I want more mithril coins, or do I want more homesteading coins?
Right. Yeah. And homesteading coins can only be used on houses plus certain items. I think they have to do with houses that are sold at Lalia's Market. At least those are the ones I know of.
So I did the math on a 422 mithril coin house. So say you bought the 422 mithril coin house, which is a more expensive, but not like super expensive one in Belfast. Not up to like the kinship level expensive, but definitely more expensive than the 145. You'd buy 250 packs of mithril coins for 4,000 LOTRO points. And you'd have 78 mithril left after you bought your house. You can use the mithril to travel around the map, go to questing locations, etc. Or you'd need 85 homesteading coins. You would only need 100 pack of homesteading coins for that, which would also cost you 4,000 LOTRO points, so same LOTRO points. But you'd have 15 left over, and I'm not sure what you would do with them.
Yeah, unless you were planning to go to Lalia's Market and buy lots of housing items.
Right. I mean, I suppose technically you could put together like your own pack that buys exactly the right number of homesteading coins. But unless they're on sale, that's probably going to come in more expensive, because as you buy the less expensive packs of them, you end up paying more LOTRO points per homesteading coin. So, I don't know. It might depend on what you have the currency for and want to do with that one. For a while, I was buying mithril coins every time they were on sale, so buying housing with mithril coins right now makes the most sense for my characters. But I don't know what your gaming has been like, so your mileage may vary on that. And you may also have been refunded in homesteading coins if you had housing on a different server before you transferred.
Right. That's right, because all those refunds were done in homesteading coins.
Right, not in Mithril. So, on some servers, I got refunds in homesteading coins, and on other servers, I didn't have any premium housing, so I did not.
All right. So I guess we go back then to the questions as they were as they were presented in here. Let's see. So the question is, okay, as a VIP, what is the best option and cheapest for getting a house? I think it came out to be, well, they're about.
I mean, the absolute cheapest, if you got Mithril in your Hobbit gifts a few times and you still have it, that doesn't cost you any real game money and no upkeep if you're VIP.
If you're VIP, yes.
But
But
I've only had that ever happen to me once.
oh, you only ever got Mithril and from a Hobbit gift once?
I've only gotten it from a Hobbit gift once.
Oh, my. You certainly haven't been lucky.
I have not been super lucky. I got lots of dwarf candles.
I think everybody's gotten lots of dwarf candles.
Okay, that's true. That's not that special. But
yeah, because I think I remember.
But I know some other people have been very lucky with getting Mithril coins, so.
Yeah, I think I've had at least once on every server.
Oh, nice.
Okay, every server where I seriously play might be better.
Well, that makes sense, yes, because you're not probably getting your Mithril or your presence on all the servers all the time.
Right, yeah, I mean, yes, it was a server I don't visit very often, or I might have visited once or twice. Yeah, obviously I won't be having much in the way of Mithril there. And I have a couple of them because when they consolidated the servers, my pool of characters from a few servers got pulled all together. So I have some servers that have about 3 servers worth of Mithril accumulated on that server as a result of that. Let's just say I had no trouble buying a Rivendell home when it came out.
Right?
In fact, I think I bought 3 in one neighborhood when the Rivendells.
Blame housing shortage on.
Say Pine is his own neighbor.
Yes.
It also ended up with a lot of Mithril coins consolidated when we consolidated servers. So I have a premium house in every neighborhood right now except Rivendell because I haven't decided on a Rivendell house.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I was thinking about if you calculated the return that all of Sans characters would possibly have, that once you calculated all of those characters, that you would be dealing with probably 25 to 30% of the entire economy and the entire history of Middle Earth.
Probably not, because most of them haven't done that much, but
yeah, but if you have 10 million guys that have 10 cents, suddenly you're not doing too bad, right?
All right. Yeah, my current character, no, my characters do not currently have a home from the old standard neighborhoods. And that when we did the server move, I just didn't bother buying houses when we got to the new server in the old neighborhoods.
Yeah, I maintained houses in the old neighborhoods on my other servers for a long time.
And I just got tired of keep on forgetting to pay upkeep and having to get myself out of debt again.
Which reminds me, I think I have 2 kin houses though that are not premium right now. I should probably log in and make sure I've paid upkeep on. That can wait.
That's the reason why the one kin that I had to worry about when I went there, I decided to buy a premium kin house instead of buying one from the instead of buying the old kin house that we had before is because I did not feel like dealing with upkeep on kin houses any longer.
Fair.
But I must admit, I think it was other members of the kin who actually did most of the payments.
Also fair.
Yeah. All right. So, all right. So that answers the first question and that was that what is the actually okay? What is the cheapest option? Unfortunately, a lot of these answers are it depends.
It depends. If you are not VIP, though, it's pretty easy. The cheapest option is a standard small house in one of the standard neighborhoods.
Because then you don't have to worry about paying. Yeah,
No
because
LOTRO points, no
right.
mithril, no homesteading coins.
Yeah, because if you got a Belfalis house, you have to pay more. You have to pay as much every single week as you would
To
pay
buy
for
the
the
house.
original house in the one of the
Yeah.
small houses in the other
You may
neighborhood.
as well just use the 1 gold to buy a house and then only pay the 50 silver a week.
Right. Pay 1 gold and have it cover 20 weeks.
The other factor in this might be storage. I know this poster hasn't used housing since beta, but if you are somebody whose inventory is constantly full and you are looking for storage options on top of participating in this new housing thing, each premium house comes with its own storage as well as shared storage that shares with the standard house. So there is that.
Okay.
I mean, I counted it into my own personal cost benefit analysis, so somebody else might count it into theirs.
Yes, it all depends on what you do with your because normally I'm more likely to just sell stuff rather than
Most of the
stick
things
it in
in
there.
my housing things are things like my Madam Hunter armor, or other things that like a character might use. I want to keep. I don't want to just throw out, but it's not likely to be in high enough demand to put it into storage that I can access on the go.
Yeah, I'm sort of like starting to get tempted to take all those regular Madam Armor sets and just delete them because I don't think I've opened up a Madam Armor set in a year.
That's a good point. I don't think I have either.
And I think one of the problems is the fact is that Madam Armor, as you go higher and higher level, Madam Armor becomes more and more useless.
It's true. I mostly have it for my new characters, but now
Yeah.
that the servers are consolidated, I don't have to worry as much about not having a crafter who can make them something if I get really desperate, or not having the currency to spend at the skirmish camp, which I'm more likely to do than craft something for them, honestly.
And then once you get too high to use the skirmish armor, that's around the same time where the Madam Armor starts to lose its bite.
Yep, and then I usually just go with quest rewards as they drop until I actually hit something where I can get good armor. Maybe I don't need to keep all that Madam Hunter armor. Thanks, Pineleaf. I'll consider this.
Okay, we'll consider the matter. So yes, it's the cheapest long run if you don't have to pay upkeep. As I said, it depends on how much the right. If you buy a house that's premium, is that cheaper in the long run if you don't have to pay upkeep? Well, it. Okay, I'm assuming this is for the VIP then. since you're talking about
Yeah, for the
and
VIP, if you don't have to pay upkeep in the long run, I consider it cheaper in in-game currency, but it was definitely more expensive in mithril coins.
yes.
So, but I've been able to save all my in-game gold on my VIP account for things like upgrading my allies, which takes a lot of gold,
You got a point
especially
there.
with multiple characters who should be upgrading them right now and cannot.
Okay. I hope that answers the question to some level. So with that, let us head in. Well, actually, first of all, thank you, Ratstu, for your question in there and for getting us to think about housing and how we should be preparing our housing so that we'll be ready for neighbors when they come out, assuming that we wish to interact with them and wish to pre-order the expansion and all of that. So let's head into our week in Lotro. Krister, what were you up to?
Well, unfortunately, the great interrupter of work reared its ugly head, so it was a relatively light week, but played a little bit of ESO with you guys. And then I built a beautiful lizard in ESO as well. And so that was pretty much it. Cinders, where were you? Oh, wait. Did I? My browser just crashed. Cinders?
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Or Sands?
Yeah. It's Cinder's Day. It's Cinder's Day.
Okay.
So I actually did play some Lotro this week. I continued the Mazzotti storyline with Pine Leaf, and we ventured into the Hatakali Fells. Things are much better when we can work together. Mostly because I don't want to respect her red line. And then I played Power World with Pine Leaf, and then I played more Power World with Pine Leaf and Sansunda, and I did ESO dailies with Pine Leaf and Sans and Krister. So, I did find time for gaming in between pulling weeds. Sansunda, how was your game? Or your weekend gaming? Blah.
My weekend gaming went pretty well. I think I went back in time on the field trip and started learning about the actions of a minstrel of the past who was apparently really cool. And, you know, seems to be pretty cool so far. And played some ESO, did some dailies and dynamic encounters, and played Power World with lots and lots of salad.
Lots of salad.
Yeah, I've been making lots and lots of salad for my pals to eat. So, yeah. And that was pretty much my week in gaming. How was your week, Pineleaf?
All right, Lotro. My Mariner quested in Underharrow. Did a few quests over there for Horn and Ellen Fremiden. Then I headed over into Aldburg, where things look like that they're a mess over there. So I'm sure that I'm going to be set to work as soon as I next log into that character. My Runekeeper quested with M. First, we finished up the final Murjala quest. Then we headed into Halakali Fells. I believe Cinders has already mentioned about that. So, continuing along with the storyline and seeing where this is going to be taking us. And for the field trip, we took a little journey into the past, recalling the days of Isildur. And that's it for my week in Lotro. We currently have 12 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support Lotro players, you can go to the Nature's page where you support the Players Alliance on Patreon. Your money will be used for our podcast hosting, website hosting, and to pay for our live shows. And I would like to give a special thank you to our newest patron, Tobald on Glamdring. And we actually have a comment for this week. And it is from none other than the Dwarf scholar, who was a guest on the show how many years ago was that?
It's been a few.
It has been a few years, yes. Hey, Pineleaf, been a while. Hope you and the LPN crew are doing well. Thought I'd give you a little shout as there is quite a big development in the dwarfish side of things that might be interesting for LOTRO Players News. As you probably remember, LOTRO uses a fair amount of Neokudzo, expanded dwarvish, that I developed, which I've continued expanding considerably over the years. Well, people can now actually learn it for free through Scalarium, an interactive learning platform that I launched recently. It has structured courses, exercises, flashcards, study packs, games, and quite a bit more. Seeing as Loach Players actually encounters quite a bit of dwarvish in game, I thought it might be worth a little shout out on the podcast for anyone who's ever fancied learning what some of it means, or learning to speak a bit themselves. To be clear, it is all completely free, no hidden costs, no subscriptions, so nothing commercial behind this request. Just trying to make all these years of dwarvish work accessible to anyone that is interested. And since I've popped up on LPN a few times in the past, mostly back in my Harnkegger Games days, I thought I'd come knocking again. If you think it would be of interest to our listeners, I'd really appreciate a mention. And then he provides a link to Scalarium where you could do all of these. Which has all the items that he was talking about on being to help you to learn the Dwarven language.
Okay,
That's really cool.
that
as
is
if I
really
have-
cool. Go ahead, Pineleaf. Sorry for cutting you off.
Oh, yes. Now the question is how in the world am I going to pronounce any of that properly? I have no idea because I have trouble saying what little I encounter.
Just
Practice.
pronounce it in your head, Pineleaf.
Just practice.
I vote practice, practice, practice. But also definitely sharing this information with Kiosaurus, definitely sharing this information with my kid, and like anybody else I can think of who has expressed interest in the runes. That's really cool. That you can learn to talk like a dwarf and read like a dwarf. Can you?
Yes.
Ooh, live like a dwarf. Okay, my son
It
just
involves
like half laughed over there.
it will involve lots of mining. There is a game called Return to Moria, which you could think of as underground Stardew Valley is probably a way to describe it.
Okay.
As in other words, you're trying to recolonize Moria is sort of the idea of it.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Right. If you would like to send us any comments, questions, or the like, you can send it to podcast@lotraplayers.com. The Player Alliance has 2 shows. Normally we record Loach Players News at 6:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, barring some emergency or anything like that. But 99% of the time, 6:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, and we record Neo Players News when Drac is available. Use joins for our shows at loachplayers.com/live. And that's all for night. And this is Pine Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.